Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
Jason.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Real Review. My name is Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. Welcome to Real Terror Month, a series where we discuss the movies that will send chills down your spine. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Friday the 13th, 2009. A group of young adults visit a boarded-up campsite named Crystal Lake, where they soon encounter the mysterious Jason Voorhees and his deadly intentions. So, John, we've come to the point where we've done just about everything I think they can do with Jason Voorhees, right?
Yeah, you would think.
He's been to space, he's had quite a few fun adventures and not so fun adventures along the way. I guess it was just a matter of time until we got I want to say reboot, right?
Jason,
if you want to call it that. So, I want to start right off the bat. So, a positive about this movie is it takes the series Friday the 13th, the legacy of Jason Voorhees, and modernizes it, right? It brings it up to a new audience. So to me, at least, that's a positive. I mean, you know, these movies are pretty old at this point, especially the original, where arguably the best content is. So I think it was a matter of time till we, gave Jason a facelift, if you will. You modernized him, and they did a really good job. I think, quite honestly, this is one of the more intimidating Jason Voorhees in any of the movies we've seen. He's very, very tall. I mean, he's a very big man in this movie, and his shadow alone, like the very image, like if you look at the promotional poster for this movie of him just standing in the woods, he's just a very menacing presence when you see him in this movie. The guy just has a look to him, and it works, I think, very well for this movie, especially just, upgrading his whole status as far as a character.
Yeah, I also feel like he got smarter too in this movie, where he started using different things instead of just the original, like slashing their throats. He used different ways to
right. Well, this was
capture people and stuff.
This was the interesting thing. So I feel like they needed to make a change, right? We've been kind of clamoring. I was leaning throughout the series through. I was saying, they should go the dark comedy route, keep being parodies of itself and keep going forward. This movie kind of proves my theory a little bit wrong, I think, in that regard, where if you could do an interesting new take on Jason, then I think it could work as a new slasher series and continue the trend. And like you said, this Jason's different from the last one. He's always been looked down upon as a lower intellect character, sometimes on the mental capacity as a condition or otherwise. I think they do call him, an inappropriate word at one point in this movie.
You do realize this camp was closed down like 20 years ago. Some woman, she went fucking nuts, killed all these counselors, blamed them for her son's drowning. He was like deformed or retarded or something.
But this Jason is smart. If anything, he excels at one thing, and that's killing people extremely well. And I like the fact that they go with the whole like hunter-trapper route for this character. Like, he knows how to lure his prey and capture them right at the right moment and take them out quickly and swiftly. And that's another thing we haven't really seen. This Jason runs fast, and he's intimidating when he catches up to you. Like the scenes where he just pops up out of nowhere running towards the screen, they're pretty awesome, I have to say. Like this is the ultimate Jason we were waiting for. And he's strong to an extent, he's super strong, but at the same time, like you said, he has all these other like hunting abilities, and For one example is he's really good at archery, which I thought was kind of funny. You know, given the whole camp he taught archery, I thought that was kind of fun. He kind of excels at things you would learn at camp, right?
Well, yeah.
That's
I mean,
what he's really good at.
He hits that person from really far away, like with an arrow right to the head.
Ow!
I mean, that's
Right.
pretty good.
And like I said, it can't be said enough. I like how this movie pays tribute to the past extremely well and modernizes it. You know, a good example, it takes a lot of things from the older movies. For example, he doesn't start off with the hockey mask in this movie, right? He gets it later down the ride, but he starts off with the bag like he had originally.
What the fuck?
Like, I'm like, all right, that's a clever inclusion. You know, they kind of pay a little bit tribute, not having him just have a hockey mask out of nowhere. They took a lot of elements from other movies. They had Jared Padalecki in this movie, who's famous from Supernatural fame. They had him play like the drifter character, like we had in the final chapter.
I wanted to ask you if maybe you've seen somebody. My sister, she came camping up around here with some friends, and she's gone missing.
She ain't missing. She's dead.
What?
People go missing around here, they're gone for good. Outsiders come, they don't know where to walk. They bring trouble. They just want to be left alone, and so does he.
You know, he's kind of blowing out of town trying to find out what happened to his sister. So they have that little mystery angle. You know, they draw little influences here and there. Or how Jason's subdued by someone who looks like his mother.
Jason! It's okay. You can stop now. It's okay.
You know, again, they pay the tribute, and I really like that. It honors the past. And one thing I would say about this movie is I feel like it's not a remake of Friday the 13th. A lot of people say, oh, it's a reboot or it's a remake. I wouldn't say that. I would say it's more of a revision to Friday the 13th, if that makes any sense. Like, they went back and they revised the story. Not rebooted it, not remade it. They just revised it. They had the quick intro in the beginning of what happened to Jason's mother, how he saw it, and then we just jumped right into it.
Jason, my special, special boy. They must be punished, Jason, for what they did to you, for what they did to me. Kill for mother.
Essentially, it's keeping the same bones. It's just moving some of the events around and how they happened.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I would say too about this movie is like, the characters are all like the same, like throwaway characters. Obviously, they're not like great actors, but I felt like they did more with them than the other ones did. I mean, they were still like the stereotypical like people and stuff in the movie,
Right.
but they also died in different ways that I thought were more creative than like.
Well, there's a
some of
couple
the other
things you
ones.
touched on there. So one thing, I do like the cast. I won't say I like the characters, but I do like the people playing those characters. Like I brought up, we had Jared Padalecki from Supernatural fame was in this movie. Danielle Panabaker plays Jenna. She's the one main girl.
You and your sister must be pretty close.
Yeah, we were pretty close when we were younger. We kind of drifted, you know. I mean, I bailed when I was 17, and she stayed with my mom. She kind of had to, I guess. I don't know. She's always been the responsible one.
So when's the last time you talked to her?
About 6 months ago. We got in a fight, actually. She called and said she wanted to see me, said she was counting on me, and I never showed.
She does good. She's from Flash fame, and she's been in several other movies as well. Again, a couple other people here and there spread out, but while they're all stereotypes...
Trying to start a label.
Oh, yeah? Like what kind? Like rap?
Why you gotta go racial? Look, don't put me in a box, all right? What, because I'm black I can't listen to Green Day?
You're right, that was dumb. So, what kind of music?
Rap.
I didn't mind them, you know what I mean? I didn't want to spend as much time as we did, which is something we'll get into it, but again, I didn't mind the characters, and the performances were suitable, right? Especially for a horror movie, maybe a little more above average, not super above average, but a little above the bar, you know, as far as performances. And not even that, because he's a new Jason, we had a lot more clever kills, like you were saying. We had different instances of kills and different things we haven't really seen. We've seen them, but we haven't seen them in this fashion, I think, that we did in this movie, which, you know, is something we'll talk about a little bit later once we get to the real kill. Another positive I would say is that this movie's very simple. You know, there's not much going on. It kind of, in my opinion, it kind of brought back the simple slasher movie. Unfortunately, after this, you know, we didn't get anything else. This was it. You know, I mean, there was a movie, I think at one point there was a movie announced that they were going to be making another Friday the 13th, but it never came to fruition. You know, I don't know, this movie made money. I'm surprised nothing kind of came after it because, again, this was a really good, you know, start to another, you know, continuation of the series, in my opinion. I also do like some of the shots in this movie. I do have some issues with the editing, which I'll get into, but a lot of the shots I thought were pretty well established, especially the lighting. This movie made very good use of lighting, if nothing else, as far as this movie, especially with some of the shading on Jason's face made him look very menacing, especially on that hockey mask. I've always said before, the hockey mask to me is a very intimidating looking piece of, you know, clothing that he uses. It works in this movie, especially with the way they use the lighting. It looks creepy, that mask. They do a really good job with that, using minimal light sources to kind of just balance and make certain colors pop and certain details that they want pop to make Jason look that much more frightening at times. Going into my negatives, I don't like the slapdash editing. Unfortunately, this becomes a common trend in more recent horror movies, especially around, you know, this 2000s time, 2009 when this came out. It's just very fast, quick paced, too quick for my liking.
Fuck you!
They just cut away too soon, so you don't really get to see too much of what's going on. You kind of are disorientated. A lot of things out of focus at times. I'm not really a fan of that. I kind of like a slower camera that's looming more on the action. It's almost to the point where it's like some of the older films where we don't get the kill in the shot as often. But this one, when they do lean in the kill, it's just the camera's shaking, moving around too much. Just study, calm yourself down. You know, whoever's holding that camera, chill out a little bit. Other thing, this movie's kind of boring at times, I would say. It felt really long to me. The pacing's very poor in this movie. The scenes where Jason's not in it, they drag. The kids are just not that entertaining. While they're decent actors to an extent, I wasn't really into their interactions, to be 100% honest with you.
Dad, you like the balls in your hand, huh?
Which one? Which one is it? Is that the one?
Those feel good, don't they?
There it is. That's the one.
Shoot! Oh!
I really wasn't buying it, wasn't caring for it. Especially the last third. I felt like there was a lot of padding, especially when Jared Padalecki finds his sister in the movie and they're trying to get away from Jason and they set up this whole other chase scene. It was just like, you're just padding out the runtime at this point. I felt like that was kind of unnecessary, and a lot of times they kind of just drag it out for no reason, I felt like.
Yeah, I could see that. I did feel bored at some points in that movie too. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do too, there's zero tension. There was at no point I was nervous for the characters or was on edge about something that was happening. As much as we praise this being a new Jason and something a little bit different, it's not really all that different, is it? It's still a slasher. It's bare bones a slasher, and it's very core. It still falls to all the tropes. It still has Jason popping out of nowhere here and there. Unfortunately, it doesn't crawl out of that hole just yet. It's still stuck in that old Friday the 13th mentality. While Jason himself is interesting and creative, not so much maybe the story he's still in. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And like I said, that ultimately falls upon the part where they didn't go all the way. And what I mean by that is they didn't take it to the next level. Like, give us something different. If you're going to make this for a new generation, you paid honor. You did great. In the beginning, I was hooked. I really liked the opening sequence. I thought that was really well done. You paid enough tribute to Friday the 13th in the beginning. So go take those risks. Do something crazy at the end. Unfortunately, for me, it just didn't go as far as I felt like it could be. And because there's no sequel to follow up with this, or at least, as of this video being made, October 2020, there's nothing in the pipeline as far as I know. So we don't know. And even if something is made, is it going to be a sequel to this? I find that hard to believe, especially with this much time passing. But, it's just, I wish they went a little further with it. And, maybe if it stood out a little more, instead of sticking so closely to the original material, maybe we would have had something a little more special.
I thought it was kind of like a weird thing that they threw in where Jason kept that one girl alive. He didn't kill her because she kind of reminded him of like her mother and stuff.
Please don't hurt me. It's okay. Jason. It's okay.
I thought that was an interesting, almost to kind of like show his more human side of Jason in a way.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Right. That was interesting. We'd never seen Jason take a hostage, quote unquote, before. We've never seen him kidnap anybody. Usually he goes right to business, and he didn't in this case. He kept somebody alive, and that's a little different for the character. And like you said, I guess it did humanize him a bit more. But, I don't know. It's interesting because how smart they kind of make this Jason seem to be. He's pretty dumb by the end of this movie, falling for that whole, like, oh, it's my mom still.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he is really excels at what he does, but I guess he's not smart enough to figure out that's not his mom anymore, even though he's got her head hanging around.
Well, yeah, it seems like as the movie goes on, he gets dumber.
Jason! Say hi to Mommy! Get out!
Because, like, you even see that one part where he goes back to the camp and he knows that somebody's there. So he throws on the lights and starts taking away all the kayaks to try and find these people.
Right.
Like, that's something that he wouldn't have done in the past.
Right.
But at, like, the end, it seems like he goes back to dumb Jason or whatever.
Yeah, they kind of slowly sip out that little magic pill that made him smart there. They kind of took a little bit of that power away.
Maybe it was the weed that made him stronger.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I saw an interesting thing online, made me laugh. Is like they were just trying to take his weed. You'd be mad too. I guess that's really what it was. Those kids were trying to take Jason's weed.
I love you. And you. And you. I even love you. Oh my god. Look at this shit. What the fuck? What the fuck? What is this? No! No!
That's why he's all mad. If you weren't trying to steal from him, he wouldn't be after you in the first place.
Well, I also think it's really weird, though, too. The whole plot that, like, that's that kid's father's house, and like all of a sudden things
Yeah.
start going wrong at this kid's house now.
Well, I'm
But
glad you
his
bring that
father's
up
had this
because
house for a while.
that was like the crux for me as far as what I didn't like about those interactions were stupid and they were long and they kept going. It was like a lot of long running jokes in this movie, or I guess I thought it was a joke.
Yes! Guys, watch the floor, all right? Please, that's stained oak. This is an outside game. Come on.
But it was just really annoying. I thought that whole it being his father's house, that whole plot was just really dumb. And like I say, it's just padding. If anything, this movie just had a lot of padding. This would actually be technically considered the longest movie in the franchise. I know we said earlier that Jason Takes Manhattan was the longest. If you watch this version, we watched the killer cut, which is the extended cut. Technically, this one's 5 minutes longer at 105 minutes. So, fun fact. That being said, I think we're going to nominate our Real Kill Award. Due to the nature of the season, myself and John will now select a recipient of the Real Kill Award, a special award given to the kill we think is the highlight of the film. John, who would you like to present your award to?
I feel like this was a good kill. I feel like when Chelsea, so she tries to hide under like the dock area, and then he just like kind of just stabs through right in through her head.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a cool scene where it stabs her in the head, and then kind of like picks her up, and then all of a sudden she slides down. And
Yeah,
it's
see her
like
boobs pop
I feel
out.
I feel like it's a cool kill.
It was Piranha 3D all over again with, I'm going to work around that. You guys will see something of it. I'm going to work around it. Don't worry. I'll show you something. But no, I thought that was pretty cool. It was fun, right? That was a fun little kill. It wasn't too serious, but creative enough to where it was something we haven't seen, that much ferocity in a stab with a machete and then just couldn't even get it out of her head. He had to like pull her up to the dock. I thought that was kind of cool. I would like to nominate for my real kill is Amanda strung up in the sleeping bag. This one starts off right in the movie, and in my opinion, it sets the tone for the Jason that we're going to have for the rest of the film. It's just incredibly gnarly, right? So Jason captures Amanda. She had sex with her boyfriend. He ran off to do what he's got to do. He's looking for the weed. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. He's looking for the weed. He has Amanda strung up in the sleeping. Right. He has Amanda slung up in the sleeping bag, and she's over a lit fire, and she's just burning alive. She's just cooking in the sleeping bag, and then she finally cooks. It rips open, and she falls dead on the ground. That's awesome on every level. I think it's just really cool. We haven't seen Jason. A lot of the times you can say, especially in these movies, Jason always is known for his quick kills, right? He'll just, you're dead. That's it. We haven't really seen the torturous side of Jason, and I kind of do like that in this film where we get a little glimpse of that, right? He doesn't kind of kill you right off the bat. He usually does something that's gonna kill you, or he puts you in like a worse for wear position after, going for that final kill, which I really do appreciate.
There's also other kills that I really liked in this movie.
Yeah,
too.
there's a couple. Go ahead. What do you have?
The one I really like too is when her boyfriend comes back to like see her and he sees her burning and he's running back and then he gets his leg caught in like the bear trap.
Oh God, yeah, Richie.
And then
Amanda!
But then Jason comes over like running at the girl who kind of is trying to save him, and he just runs over and just takes the machete right to his head.
He just cracks it right in the center of his skull, and it's such a clunk, right? Like a
I feel
really
like it's
stiff shot. Because it's cool because again, this was also the first time we see like Jason really like running and going towards you. So that's intimidating. On top of this big man with the machete just clunks it right into his skull, and you just feel every ounce of that kill when that happens. You're like, oh shit! Like it really takes you. And I wouldn't say it took me by surprise, but it was just like, ooh, that hit deep, that cut deep.
Yeah, definitely. And another one I really liked was I thought it was cool where the kid was stereotypical Asian character that they had who was getting drunk, and then he found like the whole Maker's Mark whiskey.
Lagavulin, product of Scotland. Oh, that just smells like money.
And he starts drinking that, and then he finally finds like the hockey stick, and then all of a sudden he sees Jason, and then he gives the hockey stick to Jason. Oh, this kind of goes along with like your wardrobe or something.
Oh God, you scared the shit out of me, bro. Are you looking for this? Cause it completes your outfit.
And then Jason takes
He takes
screwdriver
the
and just
screwdriver, shoves it into Chewie's neck, up
yeah,
like
but
his,
he,
his
but
throat.
he.
No! What you... God!
Keeps like turning it too. Like it was not like
Yeah.
a slow thing. It's kind of like he slowly throws it through his neck.
No, and
he
it's
just
bloody
keeps
and
turning
gross.
it, and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
like
and it's
one
funny
of
because
those
you
cool
could tell,
kills.
and he's making Chewie do it to himself. Chewie's holding on to it, and Jason grabs his hand. And he's making like, "Oh, why are you stabbing yourself, bro?" He's like stabbing it right in the neck. I just thought,
awesome.
No, it is. Another one I really did like the scene where Trent encounters Jason in the middle of the woods. He's trying to outrun Jason, so he sees a pickup truck, right? And he goes up to the pickup truck, and there's an arm like, signaling, "Oh, get in, come in," or whatever. And at that point, you're not too sure who it is. It could be Jason. Did he learn how to drive? Who freaking knows at this point? We've seen some different stuff from him. And it turns out it's just an old man, but when Trent turns around, you suddenly see Mr. Jason Voorhees standing right there. He stabs him, and then he picks him up and just hooks him right onto the back of the friggin' tow truck, and it pulls away, like freaking out, because Jason's there. Again, just really creative. Something different we haven't really seen with this series. And even that scene being as awesome as it is, one that really exemplifies everything. The character Lawrence is running from Jason, and Jason chucks an axe right into his back. It hits him square in the back, and he falls over. And he's just writhing in pain, right? He's not dead. He's just like, "Oh my God, come help me." And he's yelling to his friends that are in the house to come and save him. And they're like, "Oh, we got to go help him." And everyone's like, no, you can't. You can't go help him. You're trying to use him as bait.
Please help me. Lawrence,
No, you can't go out there.
we have to help him.
No, we can't, okay? He's using your friend as bait. He wants us to go out there.
And it's like, it clicks like then, like, this Jason's really freaking smart, man. Like, I know earlier we were saying that, but he's trying to use one of the teens as bait. Like, that's pretty awesome. We've never seen Jason keep somebody alive like that to try and lure, out his victims. I thought that was a really interesting, cool scene.
Yeah, definitely. It's an awesome scene.
Right. This movie, like I said, is, for what it is, the kills are probably some of the highlights in the series, I would argue, in this movie. It had some astonishingly good kills.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, John. So I think we're at that point of the review where we're going to give our final scores. I'm going to give Friday the 13th, 2009, a C+.
Do you know how many lakes are probably called Crystal Lake? It's Crystal Geyser, Crystal Water. Go to a supermarket. Every single bottle of water is Crystal something.
Aquafina.
Okay, fine. Okay. The story could have happened anywhere, dude. That's how they get little kids to shit themselves.
Great movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I said, not so much a remake or a reboot, but more of a revision tale of Mr. Jason Voorhees. Fortunately, it's his last adventure. We got probably one of the best Jason Voorhees we could have asked for in this character, being clever and, it set it up to go in another direction, but we just never got a follow-up. And it's a real damn shame. It's a good movie. I think it could have improved as time gone on, finding its own footing in this new era. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're ever going to get to see that. John, where do you stand with this film?
I give this film a C.
How about I pay you pump? Sure, man. Hey, I give a wicked blowjob too. Okay, well, we'll try that out later.
I feel like it was a good film. I thought it had good parts. Definitely some really interesting and good kills to this movie. And I thought it was like an interesting way to redo the movies and stuff, or re-put it out there.
It's interesting to reintroduce, Jason Voorhees to a younger audience. And if anything, I think it did that. Just, I don't know if there's a way to capitalize on that without having to do it all over again now that it's been so long, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
In the arms of the angel, away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel.
But that being said, John, where can the people find us at home?
You can find us on YouTube at The Real Movie Guys on YouTube. Like our channel, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell. You can also find us on Twitter at The Real Movie Guys. You can tweet at us, let us know your opinion on this movie or what you would like to see going forward with these movies. You can also find us on many podcasting platforms such as...
Yes, for your listening pleasure, we are also available in podcast form at iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, and Pocket Casts. Be sure to give us a listen at any of those fine places. If you already are right now, hey, greatly appreciate it. Just search Real Movie Guys. We should pop right up. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Review. My name's Kevin. This guy over here, he's John. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. And don't worry, there are more scares to come as Real Terror Month continues. We'll scare you next time.